Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Welding with Mr. Sapanic. Today's lesson is going to be Chapter 13, Shielded Metal Arc Welding, and this is going to be welding in the horizontal position. A couple of objectives today. We're going to list common considerations for welding in the horizontal position and describe the procedure for welding in the horizontal position. Now this is a lot different than welding in the flat position, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. First thing, a weld in the horizontal position is when the workpiece is in the vertical position and the weld joint is approximately horizontal. So if you lay your piece of material on the table and you turn it left or right or 360, whatever it is, and it's laying on the table, that is the flat position. Okay, it doesn't matter if you turn it left or right, it's still in the flat position. You need to take that material, you need to turn it sideways in the vertical position, and your rod is what is going to be in the horizontal position. So your plate will be in the vertical position, your rod is going to be in the horizontal position. Now you're going to be welding from either left to right or from right to left, okay? Not up and down, because that's in the vertical position. So you're going to start at the left, weld to the right, or start at the right and weld to the left. An overlap, or also known as a cold lap, occurs when the weld pool runs down to the lower side of the bead and solidifies on the surface without actually penetrating the base material. So if you have a 5/16 wide weld and you have overlap that occurs in the bottom half of that weld, you're only getting maybe 3/32 to an eighth of an inch worth of actual weld that is penetrating into the base material. So it's just like having a weld that's half the size of what the weld is supposed to be. If you were to weld a butt joint in the horizontal position, or even on the padding that you guys are working with, hold the electrode at a work angle of about 5 degrees below the surface. Okay, we'll take a look at this picture for illustration. Okay, if you are straight on, okay, you want to take that rod, you want to drop it about 5 degrees. I say about 5 degrees. Sometimes when students drop it 10 degrees, it's actually more like 20 degrees and they have too much of an angle. Okay, so about a 5-degree angle pushing up, not down. If you are using your angle and you're pushing down, then what's going to happen is you're going to get undercut on the entire top of your weld. And for those of you that know about undercut, undercut is not good. It's the removal of base material without the addition of filler metal. So having undercut in there, you're going to trap slag, you're going to have low spots in your base material, so undercut's bad. So about a 5-degree angle pushing up, and realistically, you're going to be at about a 10 to 20 degree travel angle. A lot of times when students get to that 20-degree travel angle, they tend to go a little bit too far, and you're getting more weld that's going back into the liquefied puddle rather than into the base material itself. So I like to say about a 10-degree travel angle. When depositing the bead, you can use a narrow weaving motion, so that would be like up to down. One of the downfalls of doing this as a beginning student is number one, going too wide with that weld bead. Remember, 5/16 to 3/8 of an inch is as wide as you want that weld to be. So sometimes students will go above that or wider than that and have too big of a bead. Another downfall of the weaving is students will spend too much time weaving in one spot, and what happens is they get too much weld in that area, and then you have your weld puddle that starts to sag. So you can weave, but you have to do specific things in order to do it correctly. So as a beginner, I don't recommend doing like a weaving motion until you get a little bit more experienced with horizontal welding. Couple of things to remember. Do not allow the molten weld puddle to sag. It results in overlap, or also known as cold lap, and undercuts. Remember, overlaps and undercuts are bad. Okay. Also, when welding in the horizontal position, you can use a lower welding current and a shorter arc length. So if you're in the flat position on a 1/4 of an inch piece of material, let's say you're at 120 or 125 amps, okay, with an 1/8 of an inch arc length. You move to the horizontal position, you're going to have maybe 110 or 115 amps, and you're going to be about a 1/16 of an inch arc length rather than the 1/8 of an inch arc length. Also, when welding in the horizontal position, you're going to hold the electrode at about a work angle of roughly 5 degrees, I like to say, and a travel angle of about 10 degrees. Okay. Now, the more experience you get, the more you can adjust these angles to fit your preference. But learning as a beginning welder, 5-degree work angle, 10-degree travel angle is sufficient enough. And then only if you are feeling comfortable enough, you can use a slight weaving motion when welding in the horizontal position.